everyone, and welcome back to AmourologyEd, where we do sex and alternative lifestyle education. My name is Krista. I am your host. Today we're going to be talking about Two-Spirit. I'm really excited about this one. I feel like this is a concept that a lot of people don't know about, and a lot of people have asked me why I included on my initial heading of the LGBTQ2IA+ spectrum. So we're going to answer some of those questions, so stick around. Two-Spirit is used by some indigenous peoples to describe having both a male and a female spirit. It's a little bit different than a sexuality or even a gender. It's kind of its own thing, and it is used primarily by indigenous peoples. If you are not an indigenous person, do not use this. It's highly offensive for you to use it, and you literally cannot be this if you are not an indigenous person. But this is one of the reasons that I really like to include it in that main heading, because it doesn't really fit into any of these other boxes. It's not like being homosexual or heterosexual or asexual or even any of the genders that we normally think about, male, female, non-binary, that sort of stuff. This is much more of a lifestyle, and it has really, really deep roots within the indigenous communities. I also like to include this in that main heading because I really like the idea of giving representation to those people and including people of minorities and marginalized people in that main heading, so we bring awareness to that. I think it is important to note that Two-Spirit is not just relating to having that both male and female spirit. It can also include things such as polyamorous relationships, so having more than one partner. Or it can include pretty much anything outside of the normal, what we would think of as normal. And I say normal, but it's really difficult because this kind of concept is so ingrained in the way of life for a lot of indigenous people that it's not even a weird thing. It's such a new concept that this is a strange thing. In fact, this is such a new concept. The term was first coined by Albert McLeod, who proposed its use during the 3rd annual Intertribal Native American First Nations Gay and Lesbian American Conference. That is a mouthful. This conference was held in Winnipeg in 1990. 1990! This is such a new term that it didn't even have a word until 1990. I think that just goes to show how normal this is for these people and how much it is just a way of life. A lot of Two-Spirit people will actually use a word from their native language to describe this. I'm not going to go into any of that because, well, I'm sure I'm going to mispronounce some things, and I would really like to give due justice to these people. If you are interested, you can Google it. There's lots of information on Google about that. On the other hand, though, there's a lot of tribes that just don't have a word for this. The languages used in these tribes tended to be language that described people's actions and what they did rather than their personality or who they were. So I think that's just another way to show how much of a normal thing this was for people. I would like to make a note here that Two-Spirit is actually not the same thing as a gay or lesbian or any of the sexuality indigenous peoples. Those are completely different things. So you can have a gay indigenous person and you can have a Two-Spirit indigenous person, or you could have both even, but those are separate concepts. So like gay and lesbian is more who you're attracted to, and Two-Spirit is really the embodiment of both or all of the genders. In the end though, me being white, I really feel like I can't give this justice, so I'm actually going to read the words from an actual Two-Spirit person. This person is named Lynn Young. They are from the Lakota tribe. This essay, I will link to it in the show notes. It's really, really great. I highly recommend you read the whole thing. I'm just going to read a blurb from it, but it's called Two-Spirit, My Journey Home. And I just really think that they do a really good job of expressing what it's like to be in this place of discovering this about yourself. In Indigenous circles, the process of going about one's identity path as a two-spirit person is not a process of coming out so much as a process of coming in to our cultural and ancestral home, coming in to a deep understanding of the ancient histories and traditions associated with our Indigenous gender identity, coming in to the warmth of our cultural fires and finding nourishment there, finding home. The nourishment that I have found here has empowered me to step into the circle with other two-spirit leaders and join in the work of restoring two-spirit roles and functions that were erased from our cultural memory by colonization. Now I identify as two-spirit. Having taken this journey of discovery, two-spirit is not merely an affirming label to claim my culture and my sexual orientation. Today, I claim two-spirit as my actual gender. Not male or female, but an ancient, non-binary gender identity uniquely and wholly Indigenous. This two-spirit journey of self-discovery has been my journey home. Okay, so I know this was a lot to absorb. Thank you for hanging in there with me. You might have also noticed that I fixed my audio and video, and it looks and sounds better than ever. So welcome to season 2 again. And as always, you can find me at AmourologyEd, at AmourologyEd on all social media. And you can find me on Patreon at AmourologyEd. I have a Facebook group that I have reopened. It is not a public group. People can't see what is in it, but it is open to the public for people to join. So if you're interested in that, it's a wonderful community. If you would like to just get inundated with lots of cool sexual and relationship and emotional topics, it's a wonderful place to do that. It's a really caring community that values growth, and I love that about them. So that's there as a resource if you need it. And I think that's pretty much everything. Oh, like and subscribe. Ha ha ha. You should do that because it helps people find me and it lets me know that you're listening. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
When I take control, I fall apart. When I make up my mind, it breaks my heart. I turn my eyes toward the starless sky. All I have learned is cast aside when it doesn't serve the storyline. I set my sights on someone else's life and times. Shelter